G'day YouTube, Warbles on a lot here. I'm just in the middle of changing the air filter in the 2000 vintage Forester all-wheel drive that I've been operating now for 2.5 months. During which time I've been logging factors such as fuel purchased, distance covered, battery voltage in the morning, how many days since the last run back from town. The first 262 kilometres, I saw 10.4 kilometres to the litre. And the battery, 12.28 resting in the morning, 12.21 resting in the morning, 68% and 65% of charge capacity. It had taken a fortnight for the car's alternator to charge it up so that it was resting at 12.34 volts in the morning rather than 12.28. 10 days later, not much improvement. 10.578 kilometres to the litre. Here on the 26th of the 6th, 12.34 volts in the morning. Went for a 100 kilometre drive. Next time I had a look at it, 12.42 volts in the morning. 11.33 kilometres to the litre. And that was during the bracket of time in which the bull bar was fitted. And whereas the 100 kilometre trip did do some good things for the battery voltage, next time I filled up the fuel tank, I discovered what going down 2200 feet and then having to climb back up 2200 feet did to the fuel burn. Cut nearly a kilometre per litre off the entire tank full. At the 6-week mark, we're talking 12.38 volts resting in the morning, 11.03 kilometres to the litre. And last Monday, 11.06 kilometres to the litre. And I've seen as high as 12.41 volts in the morning. So at 2 months, 1,864 kilometres, and the 2000 vintage Forester with its 75 amp or 1.5 metric horsepower worth of electricity type alternator, belt driven at 2.5 to 1 step up ratio from the crankshaft, has not yet succeeded in recharging the battery to anything better than 71%. Here's one variable. I started out on 95 octane. The first refill was 95 octane. Ka-chunk. And 6 weeks ago, I gave it its last dose of 95 octane. So according to the log, it did 11.33 kilometres to the litre, running on 95 octane with the bull bar fitted. Since then, I've been running on 98 octane, so I would have expected better fuel consumption. That figure relates to the previous fuel burn. That's down because of the hill climbing, but we're still 0.3 of a kilometre per litre worse on 98 octane than it was on 95. So that's kind of curious. If I had not logged the octane rating of the fuel, I would have been inclined to put that 300 metres less per litre down to the aerodynamic turbulence caused by the bull bar. But perhaps this engine actually prefers 95 octane to 98 octane, in which case I might have to change service stations or at least change bowsers at that service station. Reason I was going for the 98 octane is not only the higher available energy for the engine, but because their 95 octane is 10% ethanol, and I'm not sure how this engine's going to take to that. Now, the reason I've laboured the point so much is I'm trying to establish the fact that when you're running an experiment with a statistical universe of one, in this case one forester that I get to play with, you have to try and make any changes to the conditions one at a time. So I've done the change one at a time with the fuel, kind of the crossover point where I did the change with the bull bar. So that's muddied the waters there. However, I've now got two consecutive fuel burn figures that are within 0.03 of a kilometre per litre. 30 yards worth of fuel efficiency difference spread out over 2 half tanks and a month worth of time. So we can say, yeah, at the moment it's getting about 11.04 kilometres to the litre on average, and I'm about to make another change. To wit, I'm shouting at a new air filter, and this is the filter ed side of the air cleaner. This is the engine side. Here in the box, and fresh out of the box, is the newbie. They look pretty similar, don't they, on the side that the engine gets to suck on. This is the side that the air gets sucked through, and let's have a look at what it's like on this one. Somehow, I think perhaps possibly this might make something of a difference to the fuel burn. And now, because I have been sufficiently obsessive, compulsive, semi-autistic and control freakish enough to have logged all of the stuff previously tediously afore explained unto thee, therefore I'm going to be actually in a position to speak with authority on how much difference to your fuel consumption a dirty air cleaner is capable of making. And when I can say that, then I will actually know what the baseline fuel consumption is of this 2000 vintage 2-litre Forester behind me. And when I can speak with authority on that, then I can fit the roof of it with the 60-watt Mk-8 SunFoil, which I was actually able to calculate that it required the very first weekend that I got the thing. But rather than just stick the SunFoil on there and claim bravely, unsubstantiatedly that, oh yes, it's working, because the Mark III prototype changed the fuel burn on this old thing from 8 kilometres per litre per month to 10.66 kilometres per litre per month. Then therefore, when you stick a solar panel on top of the Forester, it will obviously automatically be just as beneficial as the streamlined solar panel was back in the days when the touring wagon used to be registered and driving on the road. At the moment, the battery in the Forester is 33% flat, whereas the one in the touring wagon, it's full. So next time I start this one up to go and get a load of firewood, the engine's not going to be burning any fuel to recharge the battery from the days since last time I ran the motor. Whereas I know that when I go to start this thing up, the very first thing that its alternator is going to do is try and recharge that battery that's 33% flat at the moment. But it is necessary, speaking as a mad scientist, it is necessary that I delay the application of the Mk-8 SunFoil to the Forester until I've got a really good accurate baseline. And I won't have a good accurate baseline until about a month's time, when I've put 2 tanks of fuel through it with a clean air filter for the engine to suck through. Warbles on a lot to YouTube. I may be a mad scientist, but the madness isn't dangerous. And if I'm really honest, I think the science is pretty good. Ciao.